We are joined by Tamer Qarmout, Associate Professor of Public Policy at Doha Institute for Graduate Studies. Always good to speak with you, Tamer. So, does the issue of a resolution for Gaza, whether it's a ceasefire, need to come back to the UN Security Council, or do the US representatives' comments that we just heard in that report give us an idea of any prospects for progress, even if this comes back to the Security Council?
So, Elizabeth, if it comes back to the Security Council and there is an overwhelming majority vote that calls for ceasefire...
Like we saw...
Exactly, earlier in previous attempts.
Just a couple of months ago.
And then the US again vetoes it. I mean, it's a symbolic victory for the Palestinians, more or less. I mean, that, yes, there is an overwhelming majority, international majority that is behind ending this war. And it will make the US look isolated. But the question is, does the US administration really cares at this stage? I mean, to be embarrassed or not embarrassed? Obviously not. I mean, sadly, I mean, from the onset of this war till now, the diplomatic behavior of the Americans was not what would you expect from a mediator or a broker of peace. I mean, the US is sadly has chosen to be partner to Israel in this war.
Absolutely. So the criticism is that it's acting like Israel's lawyer instead of an honest broker in these negotiations, which are set to continue. And we're hearing that even the CIA director is going to come back to the region. If you're saying that the US doesn't care about how it looks on the world stage at the moment, so why keep up these negotiations which aren't going anywhere?
So I think that's a very good question. I mean, yes, why? I mean, let's look at this last visit of Blinken to the region. I mean, just a week before it, the US has agreed or supplied Israel with a major weapons to enable it to continue its war. So on one hand, they continue delivering weapons to Israel, and then they pretend that there are some diplomatic efforts to get to a solution. I think the US administration now, the Biden administration at this stage, I think more or less it has, what it's doing is just the act of pretending that they are engaged in some sort of diplomacy to have a ready answer for all these angry and committed voters in the US who keep asking, why can't we stop the war? And the answer is, we're trying. But in fact, in reality, they're not. They're just siding by Israel. I think the behavior of the US administration is, from my own view, is so far is that they're committed to help Netanyahu to achieve the victory he's looking for. And so far, he has not.
But that victory is not possible, is it? And, I mean, officials from across the board, including American officials, have said it's not possible to defeat Hamas.
They have been saying this from the onset of this war, but now we're getting into the 11th month, soon of this war. And what the Americans have been saying, actually, their actions are totally in the opposite direction. They're doing the opposite. Gaza, as it stands today, it's a tragedy. It's a living tragedy. This genocidal war has totally changed the face of Gaza forever. Hamas also is not in a good position because Hamas is under huge pressure because it is a resistance movement and a governing party as well. So none of the declared goals that Hamas has also declared on the onset of this war has been achieved. And now they're faced with this, the hungry, the massacring, these all civilians that are suffering. So they see Hamas and Israel at the same time. They see Hamas as their government that is unable to stop this war. And at the same time, Israel is left alone to do whatever it wants in Gaza. So when it comes to this, I think the Israelis and the Americans are betting that they're almost there. They want to see an end of Hamas. They have assassinated their top leaders. Now it's about hearing Hamas accepting to say, yes, we're defeated. But Hamas is not going to do this because it's suicidal for Hamas. But the thing is, who's going to stop this war? Again, the Americans, they have the leverage. They have not been using it, and they're still coordinating and helping the Israelis to find this victory to appease Netanyahu.
Mr. Qarmout, we've run out of time, but thank you very much for your analysis. We really appreciate it. Thank you.